Before the crown, there were the hills, the Peri Lipul Hills, where my story began. Even before I could name them, they shaped me. They taught me that identity is something you carry. I was raised in Kirandongo refugee camp, Uganda, a place that became home while we were far from home. Life there was simple, and in that simplicity, our culture stayed close. In our language, our songs, and in the stories we shared. My name is Marlene Anyango Charles Uduar, and I am proudly from the land of Eastern Equatoria, from Peri Tribe, Lafun County. I would say South Sudan is really a very diverse country. It is in our diversity that makes us unique. So I feel like the Peri people are not that different from other communities, but if I speak of Peri, these are people filled with resilience, people with different clans, different traditions, but then they chose to live in unity. So that is what it means to be a Peri. Growing up away from my ancestral land did not disconnect me. It connected me in a different way. I learned that home is not only a place on a map. Home lives in the memory, in values, and in who we become. The first story that comes to my mind is their bravery, their strength, especially contributing towards the liberation of the country, especially in the 1983. So that is one of the things that really makes me proud about my people. And the other thing is how they embrace their culture and stay true to their cultures. That is another thing. To be Peri is to belong to the land beneath my feet, to the language spoken with pride, to stories passed down by our elders. This is the female attire Enyijo Peri wears. Enyijo Peri is a female from Peri. So each bead that you see on my body has its meaning. Like, there are really very many. In fact, I didn't wear all of them. Some of them, like this one, and this one, they're called, there is the chipi. It is worn especially when you're married. Exchanging one is, you can exchange it with a cow. So you buy one piece only with a cow. So imagine all these that I am wearing. So each of them have meaning. Some of them are for initiations, like you transition from being a girl to a woman, transition to, it's all age sets. That is how they wear them. And before the ancient days, we used to not wear the tondura. We all know the tondura. So we used to wear animal skin, especially the goat skin for women, that covers the lower part, and something like a lao we put on top of these beads. That is during the ancient days, and today it's worn by a group of women who are married to ruling body of the Peri. So you wear them during dance ceremonies and all that. That is when women wear them. And the male, they wear a leopard skin on their shoulders. They wear a leopard skin. That is the difference. But till today, men wear the leopard skin while in traditional and all that, while women, as we girls, now this is the modern wear, you can wear a tondura with your beads on. But each bead has its meaning and each bead has its name. My culture was never written for me. It was lived, and it lives in me. I learned the values of staying true to myself. I learned the values of being rooted in my culture, especially in simple traditions like the traditional dances, the youth initiations like the rodi. The thing I would definitely carry on is the traditional dance, and also the language itself. Though I am not 100% good at it, but the language itself tells a story of connection. That is one thing I'll carry on. Well, in the world of today, where European culture has, really influenced our youth today, I feel like it is through our languages that we understand where we come from, who we are, Language is not just something spoken, it is something rooted, it is something deep. So like once we learn our languages, it really tells a story. When I stepped into the world of modeling and pageantry, I carried questions with me. Would I be accepted as I am? Would my roots be seen or erased? I chose not to leave them behind. At some point, I felt like I really needed to change who I was in order to fit in the industry, especially in modeling. There's some certain things like the outfits that are brought to you. You feel like it is not from your culture and you do not want to wear it. But then in the modeling industry, at some point, you have a say to be like, no, I don't need to do this. I need to stay true to myself. So I have ever been in that pressure. The girl from South Sudan, not only from my community, I have faced a lot of criticism, especially the misconception about modeling. Well, parents tend to be like, oh, this girl is now not going to be in a good way. She's going to learn other cultures and forget their cultures. But then the thing is, with time, my family and friends and all the people around me, they understood that modeling is not only about learning new cultures, but also embracing your culture. Well, my modeling career started in 2023, but then I put much of the effort in 2024, where I started the modeling and I became Miss Junubia. And Miss Junubia was one of the top 3 beauty pageants, national beauty pageants in South Sudan by then. There was Miss World South Sudan, Miss Earth, and then there was Miss Junubia. That was my first ever pageant, but then shockingly I won, not because I felt like I was better than anybody, but because of the culture. And my modeling career was influenced by the lack of representation. I saw in the modeling world, people from my community were not seen. So I felt like I needed to be the representation of my community. That's how I got influenced to join the modeling world. When I walked onto a stage, I do not walk alone. I carry my people with me. The strength of Peri women, the pride of a community often unheard. My beauty is not borrowed, it is inherited. I have stood on multiple stages. The first one was a national stage, that was Miss Junubia. And then there I was representing my community specifically. But then when I went beyond South Sudan, I was there as South Sudan. And also I always remembered my mom, who always supported me in this journey, despite of the stereotypes the community has put on girls not to be doing other things. So I felt like I was representing South Sudan, at the same time representing women who are limited because of society. All the beauty pageants that I was in, I made sure that I represented the Peri people, either through speech, through traditional dance, or even in the cultural attire itself. Home will always remain home despite of the negativity and everything that could be happening there. When you go out of South Sudan, you remember that you have to protect your home at all costs. So I feel it is very necessary, to represent South Sudan with dignity and honor, because you're a reflection of them when you go out. Balancing traditions and modern life is not easy, but I have learned that strength is not in choosing one over the other. Strength is in honoring both. In moments of doubt, I remember who I am and where I come from. I find my strength in prayer, constant prayer. And secondly, I find my strength in my mother and my family, who has always supported me through this journey. And they always remind me that no condition is permanent, and through the hard times, there will always be hope and good time at the end. One of the main challenges I face is financial support. That is one of the main challenges. The second one is society limiting women to not pursue their dreams. So those are the major 2 things I faced in the modeling industry. I would like to change is the belief our cultures have labeled women, that women are meant to just get married, and the best thing that could ever happen to a woman is to marry and make children. Of course, that is a good thing. But then beyond that, women have potentials to pursue with their education, their dreams, and a lot more that women could contribute positively to their societies. That is one stereotype that we should remove from our societies. I stand not just for myself, but for every young girl watching. Your culture is not a limitation. It is your power. The message I want to give to every Nyijo Peri out there is that they are enough. No circumstance, no limitation should make you not pursue your dreams. Because I have been through that same circumstance, because this world, we face a lot of challenges in different ways. Just know that there is hope someday. That is one thing I need to say. Keep pushing and discover your hobbies, discover your talents, and one day you will appreciate from the struggles.
How can culture and confidence work together?
How can culture and confidence work together? That's really a tricky question. But then, I feel like culture is something that can adopt with time. And there are some things in culture that do not make you feel confident about yourself. And then confidence itself, I feel like, for me, staying true to my culture, good things that the culture teaches you, because culture is yourself, is your identity. So when you understand that culture is your identity, and if you know your identity, that is where confidence comes from. You can't pretend to be somebody else, yeah? So that is where, they collide. From the hills to the stage, I stand crowned, not by a puzzle, but by identity. This is my story. I am Peri, and I carry my culture with every step. Being a Peri is another thing, and being a model is another thing. But then we need to understand that a model is someone who inspires. And then what inspires you is what made you to become who you are. And then for me to be a model, I need to understand where I come from in order to inspire something. So these two things started to align together. What makes me proud is the strength that my people give me. Is that I understand these are people who chose to choose hope over their circumstance. And that is one thing that makes me proud to represent people who understand that there is a better tomorrow. So that is what makes me proud. I dream of a future filled with hope, a future where I can use my progress and success to influence others, to bring others up, to uplift others. Because true beauty is in the power to bring people who are besides you, to raise together with them, not to raise alone. And also to my Peri people, I dream of a future where our cultures adopt and remove all the harmful practices that will hinder the growth of our society, especially to the girls. That is the future I dream. I am Nyijo Peri. Tendo wapi Nyijo lipul bongo dago monena go. La 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 mana malaika dago wanda yipe Nyijo yakare. Moneni go iye ni manda twegaru na bungweno pani godi bungweno. Nendu Nyijo Peri bongo dago monena go. La 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 mana malaika dago wanda yipe Nyijo yakare. Moneni go iye ni manda twegaru na bungweno pani godi bungweno. Nutamba kili changarumbuwa nagabi nyango wakigo. Lichango cha wamida ringi kanisa wakawoni adama jokacha.
I'm a proud South Sudanese. I am proud of Lafun. Beri urekodaj ukatalwag bende. Kinyi ikanyo tiyalwag. Penyunguruni yau maki yaloli kwanyangudi.